Good afternoon. Welcome back to Football League One TV. It's time for the latest edition of the weekend preview show. I'm your host, George Dagless, and joining me this afternoon are Ben Wignall and Billy Mulley. Ben, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Don't really particularly like the international breaks, especially when it comes this late in the season. It's been a bit of a quiet week for Championship fans like me and Billy, but got some League One and League Two action to look forward to this weekend. There's a lot going on at both the top and bottom end of both divisions, so it's something to get our teeth stuck into.
Yep, certainly still plenty of games to talk about this weekend. Billy, how are you getting on?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. As Ben says, some cracking games, and we're coming to that point of the season where every game week it brings about something new and something quite conclusive. So yeah, looking forward to getting through to some of the better games of this game week.
Good stuff. As both of the guys mentioned, we're focusing purely on League One and League Two on the weekend preview this afternoon. So League One and League Two fans, do get in touch. Let us know, are you going to a game this weekend? What are your hopes for your side this weekend as well, if your team is playing? Of course, let's get straight into it. We're going to start at the top end of League One, Ipswich taking on Plymouth Argyle, two teams that still have playoff hopes at the very least. Plymouth, of course, may still feel that they can get into the top two by the end of the season, although they will be going great guns to achieve that. Ben, let's talk Ipswich first of all, though. This is a big opportunity for them to try and obviously make a statement against the side that is in the playoffs currently, and obviously try and close that gap down a little bit to the top six.
Yeah, it is, they're unbeaten in 10 games each week, chasing down them playoff places, and it is really, tightly contested with them kind of last few places. I think you can probably say that Plymouth and MK Dons, even though they've not, mathematically secured the place, I think they probably need a real collapse in results to not be in that top six. So I think, in my opinion, there's about 5 or 6 clubs fighting for 2 places, in Ipswich definitely one of them. This is quite a tough game for them, though, considering Plymouth have, won the last 6 and not conceded a single goal in that time. But, the kind of attacking players that Ipswich have, they can unlock any defence in League One, no matter how strong they are. I think losing a couple of players recently to injury is probably not going to help them. George Edmondson's kind of been ever present since he signed from Rangers. He's probably out for the rest of the season, and Caden Jackson, who's just got back into the team and had a good run of form, he's got a hamstring injury. I know they're quite well stocked up front and in the attacking midfield area, so maybe they won't feel that one as much as maybe Edmondson. But, going into a game against a team like Plymouth and losing important players like that's never a good sign. But they do have a lot of strength in depth, which is why I think that they might have a very good chance of getting into that top 6, and a win against Plymouth would be a real, statement of intent considering how they've been playing recently.
And Billy, as for Plymouth, they're flying along at the moment in League One. They've looked pretty assured, don't they, of a top 6 spot. And this would be, another opportunity to, knock a team that wants to try and get into that top 6 a little further back with a victory at an important time of the season.
Yeah, it would be a massive, massive 3 points if they are to secure their 7th successive victory. I think with Plymouth as well at the moment, it's not just the results they're getting, it's this exciting brand of attacking football that Steven Schumacher has been able to continue after Ryan Lowe departed. So it's really, really good to see that their football's being rewarded with positive results. And as Ben said there, it's 6 games, 6 wins and 6 clean sheets. Is pretty much perfect form at the moment. And Ipswich have been brilliant themselves. I think it probably is the 2 best teams in current form at the moment coming up against each other, which makes it, a really, really exciting game. Of course, Luke Jeffcott and Panuccia Kamara will be missing, both on international duty, so that as well as providing opportunity for players on sort of the fringes of things, it's also something that could work to Ipswich's advantage, especially considering the kind of influence that Kamara has, and the relentless running that Jeffcott has. They're 2 really, really big players, so to have them missing could play a part, but I'm sure nothing at the moment will knock this Plymouth side. They've got players like Ryan Broom and Jordan Garrick that can come into the side and really make it seem that no changes have been made. They're on that kind of excellent form, and it really is a really exciting game to come this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly could be a real cracker between the two sides. Let's get score predictions in then. Ben, how do you see this one going?
I'm going to go down the middle and go with a 1-1. I think that Plymouth might, lose that kind of the clean sheet record that they've got, but I think they might be solid enough in general to escape from Portman Road with a point.
Okay. Billy, what's your prediction here?
I don't know how often I start these shows going with a 1-1 draw, but I can't go against that again. I'll have to go for a 1-1 draw. Can't split these two sides.
Okay, we'll get someone to watch all the shows back that you've been on this season, Billy, and top that up. I personally am going to go for a Plymouth victory here. I fancy them to continue their winning streak. I'll go 2-1 to Pilgrims. Another game to talk about in League One is Sheffield Wednesday against Cheltenham Town. Ben, we'll come to you and talk the Owls first of all. They're another side in the playoff hunt, 5 points above Ipswich, sitting just 1 point outside the top six are Wednesday. This is a game against a team in Cheltenham that doesn't really have much to play for now this season. So really, Darren Moore's men need to get the job done, particularly after a few frustrating performances of late, particularly the one against Gillingham not too long ago.
Yeah, it probably would have been frustrating, that one, but I don't think Gillingham are as bad a team as they were a few months ago. Under Neil Harris, they've become a little bit more solid, but even with Sheff Wed's recent record of scoring a lot past the lower teams in the division, you would have expected them to come away from 3 points. So yeah, it probably was a little bit frustrating, but in general, in the last few months, Sheff Wednesday have been in really good form. They put 6 past Cambridge and 5 past Burton a few weeks ago, so I think there's probably a chance that they could do the same to Cheltenham. I know Cheltenham they can be a solid team, but away from home they probably don't have that kind of record that they'd like to have. I think they drew against Ipswich a few weeks ago, but they've lost to similar teams to Sheffield Wednesday on the road, and I can see Sheffield Wednesday kind of maybe running riot again in a game like this. And when you look at Sheff Wednesday's team at the minute on paper, they've got a few defenders back now. Iofa's back from injury. They've got Jordan Story and Sam Hutchins at the back. It's a really solid back line, and they just need to start keeping them clean sheets again. And I think on paper they've probably got one of the better team, one of the best, if not the top 2 lineups in the division right now. And you certainly couldn't back against them, especially at home against a team that probably don't have anything to play for now this season.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment of the talent that Sheffield Wednesday do have. And Billy, as for Cheltenham, like we've mentioned, they're a side that's hit that 50-point barrier now, sitting bang in the middle of the League One table. Overall, they're going to be very happy with the way this season's gone, given that they came up from League Two. And in that sense, it makes them a bit of a dangerous animal, doesn't it, this weekend? Because they can play, with the leash off, and Sheffield Wednesday need to, be up to that.
Yeah, all eyes and all expectations will be on Sheffield Wednesday. As Ben said, what an incredible team that Darren Moore's got at his disposal. Not just starting 11 now, that they're getting the options back on the bench. And, as we say, Sheffield Wednesday are a very dangerous outfit. The problem has been consistency, and that's where I think Cheltenham will look to expose again. Obviously, had that 6-0 victory against Cambridge, and then they drew at Hillsborough straight after 1-1. So, yeah, I think that's the way Cheltenham are allowed a way into this game. And you look at them as well, you look at sort of the individual quality that they've got, that they're a really, really strong outfit. I think going up last season, even in League Two, it was a little bit of a shock. And then the fact that they've kicked on with, a comparatively small budget in a really competitive League One, and they look to be challenging for a top half finish. It has been a really, really good season. As I said before, there's some key individuals that I think have gone under the radar this season. Alfie May, 19 league goals this season, 3 off top spots. So he's been returning excellent numbers, and he's got that relentlessness in him. He's also got that attacking intelligence, links the play well. Partnered with Keon and Tete, another player that's been really, really good this season. Definitely attracting a few more Championship clubs, I imagine. Matty Pollock as well from Watford has also had a really good season. So some players there that I think have gone under the radar, but ultimately as a collective, I think Cheltenham have been excellent, and that warrants a top half finish. And as I say, it's going to be a tough task, of course, but they'll be looking to benefit from that inconsistency that Sheffield Wednesday have shown in patches this season.
Yep, They certainly will be. Let's get score predictions in then. Ben, we'll come to you first of all.
I'm going to go for a very convincing Sheffield Wednesday 4-1 victory. I don't think I usually predict really big scorelines on this show, but I'm going for one here. They've been in good scoring form recently against teams like this at home, so I can't see why it won't continue.
Okay, House fans will be happy with that one. Billy, how do you see it going?
Yeah, I'm close to going as convincing as Ben, but I'm not as confident. I'll go for a 2-0 victory, a more comfortable victory for the Owls.
Okay, I'm going to back Wednesday to win as well, but I think it'll be quite tight. Actually, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for the Steel City side. One other League One game to talk about before we talk League Two, and that's Wimbledon against Cambridge. Earlier in the week, Ben, the Wimbledon board released a statement that they're backing Mark Robinson. Do you think that was the right decision, given the form that they've been in for such a long time?
Not sure. He's a very inexperienced, kind of head coach manager. Leading the team in the dugout. They decided to persist with him, but it's been 19 league games since they've won, and any other team would probably part a company with the manager by now and try to get someone more experienced in. But Wimbledon are doing it their own way. They're putting the faith in him. He did get some good results when he was first appointed last season, but it's kind of tailed off. And they do have some good young talent. Wimbledon, the likes of Assal and Radoni have stood out this season, but you just feel like they might need a bit more experience, and they probably needed it since this run started in around December time. And it's hard to see where this next win is coming, although they've probably got the best chance in a while to do so, considering Cambridge are in pretty poor form themselves. So, this could be the perfect opportunity for Robinson to try and relieve some of the pressure on him.
Yeah, it's an opportunity indeed for Wimbledon, but after the way the last few months have been, you never really back them to take it. We'll have to see what happens this weekend. Billy, as for Cambridge, in some ways similar to Cheltenham, I think it's fair to say that the U's are safe, and they would have taken that at the start of this season. How do you think they go about it this weekend? Do you think they'll try and sort of, take the lead off a little bit and attack, or are they going to be, happy enough with a draw? Do you think their form hasn't been great, has it, in recent weeks?
Yeah, as you say, form hasn't been too great. 1 point from 5 games, but Mark Bonner has come out and said that he wants all 3 points. Ambitious manager, ambitious from the onset, really. Delivered promotion last season. For the most part of this season, that they've been, challenging around mid-table. I know the last few weeks that they've sort of tailed off from that a tiny bit. But ultimately, I think if you would have asked Cambridge fans at the start of the season, you can have 20th position right now, I think they would have taken it right away, because again, budget wise, it's very hard to compete with some of the better clubs in this division, and even the ones that have been in this division for quite a while now. So for Cambridge to win promotion and to progress in the way they have done this season, it certainly has been a season to remember. And in a way, they have sort of similarities to Wimbledon in terms of it's a young squad trying to play a particular brand of football. And as I say, for the most part, it has worked. It's just whether they can give themselves a platform to build on. And I think, like what Ben said, with it the other way around, that Cambridge will be looking at Wimbledon and be viewing this as a good opportunity to sort of kickstart their season again and end the season in a strong manner. And I think as things stand, they look safe. But if they lose this game and lose the next one, then they could quite easily get dragged into somewhat of a relegation battle.
Okay, let's get your score predictions in. Ben, how do you see it going?
I'm gonna say Wimbledon will win 2-1. I've just got a strange feeling that they might break that long unbeaten, long winless run. And Cambridge, they've been losing to bigger teams, the kind of promotion chasing teams recently. But I think they're going to be safe pretty much soon enough, and they might be already on the beach already. So I think Wimbledon, with a lot to fight for, might just sneak this one.
Yeah, so you're thinking Wimbledon do have to break that winless run at some point. Billy, what's your score prediction here?
I'm going to go 2-0 to Cambridge. I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far. Admittedly, I don't think that takes in current form, but I think coming up against the Wimbledon side who have struggled massively in recent months, I back the U's to get the job done.
Yeah, I'm with you, Billy. Actually, I think Cambridge are going to capitalise on Wimbledon's woeful form. I think they're going to take a big step towards that magic 50-point mark they use. I'm going to go 1-0 victory for them. Wayne's got in touch on YouTube. Good to have you with us, Wayne, as ever. Cambridge win 3-1. He's back in there against Wimbledon. We will see what happens this weekend between those two sides. That's enough League One chat for the weekend preview for this week. Now we're going to talk League Two. Up first, we're going to talk Leyton Orient against Barrow. Ben, Orient have picked up in recent weeks. Do you think they're looking towards being safe now? Have you seen enough from them in the last couple of matches that they look like they're going to be okay now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they've picked up the performances markedly under Richie Wellens. You know, they went on that long winless run under Kenny Jacker, which meant, I think the change was inevitable in the dugout. And in the last four games, they've only conceded twice and they've scored 6 goals in the last 2 games. So something's definitely, clicked under Wellens already. They look a lot more of a threat in attack. Any other time, I'd probably be confident of them beating a team like Barrow. But, as we'll probably talk about in a minute, they've got a new manager at the helm. And, you're always wary of that kind of new manager bounce of someone coming in and getting a result. So any other weekend, I'd probably be confident of Orient taking apart Barrow pretty easily. But, strange things have happened. And when it gets to this stage of the season, the teams like Barrow, who definitely need a result to try and steer clear of safety, they'll be fighting for their lives, so it could be an interesting contest and a contrast of style, so to speak.
Yeah, certainly could be. Let's get on to that new manager now, Billy. Phil Brown is back in the EFL, in charge of Barrow, taking over from Mark Cooper. Do you think Barrow have left it too late, though, to make a managerial change, or do you think it's going to be the start of, getting themselves away from the bottom two?
Yeah, I think it's probably good timing. It gives him enough time in the end of this season to get a bit of a heads up going into the next. And 6 points clear at the moment. Stevenage in absolute woeful form. Oldham are taking a turn for the worst again under John Sheridan, which was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I think they're in a position where they're not safe, but they're looking at the 2 teams below them and thinking we are better than these 2 sides, and they've proven that, I think, over the course of the season. Whether they can see the sort of immediate new manager bounce, it remains to be seen. But as we all know, Phil Brown demands good performances. He's a very demanding manager in that respect. So yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see. Of course, 1 win in their last 9 games. They're not in the best of form, leading to Cooper's sacking. But it's looking at the teams below them at this stage and thinking, are we better than them? And at this point in time, I do believe they're better than the 2 teams that are currently trying to chase them.
Okay, let's get the score predictions in for this one then. Ben, how do you see it going?
I think that Barrow might just grind out a goalless draw here. I know it's not a fun prediction, but they've not really been on a terrible run of form. They've only lost 2 of the last 10. They've just drawn a lot of games, and I think this could be it could go a similar way. They've both the wins in the last 10 games have come away, and one was against Northampton, which was a very good result. So I don't see why they can't come away from Orient with a point. So I'm going to go with a bit of a stalemate here.
I wouldn't be too sure by draw either, to be honest. I'm going to go 1-1 between these 2. Billy, what's your prediction for this game?
I'm going to go completely different. I've backed Leyton Orient a lot this season. And when they're on form, they're very, very difficult to stop. I'm going to go for a rampant 4-0 victory to the O's.
Okay, might be a reminder of the quality Orient do have if they can produce that kind of performance. Billy, we'll see what happens there. Another game to talk about in League Two is Port Vale against Sutton United, 9th versus 8th in the League Two table. Ben, Port Vale are sitting nicely, aren't they? Just outside the top 7. Unbeaten in the last 4, won 3 of those games, and win this one. They obviously leapfrog Sutton and potentially a host of teams, depending on how other results go.
Yeah, it's probably a real playoff 6 point in this. I know there's still a few more games to go, but it could change the landscape of the whole race, and it's going to be a hotly contested battle. If anything, the reverse fixtures, anything to go like. I remember watching that on the EFL show. Sutton were 3-2 down in the last 5 minutes, ended up winning 4-3. And the way games have been going recently, I can, see another kind of goal fest. Port Vale have scored 4 against Crawley recently and 3 against Mansfield, so they clearly know where the back of the net is. Could be a very entertaining game. Sutton are pretty unpredictable at the minute. They've lost a few games against teams who are up there, the likes of Swindon and Bristol Rovers. If that's the kind of form they're going to be in against a team that's in a similar position, then they might struggle because Port Vale are a very well engineered team. But Sutton, do have the players to make a difference, like Adjiboye. So could be it's a game that I'm going to be struggling to predict in a minute. But 2 very similar teams at the minute, and it should be an exciting game, judging what we saw earlier in the season.
As for Sutton, Billy, in recent weeks it's been a bit of up and down for them, hasn't it, in league? But got a win early this week away at Oldham. Yes, Oldham are in poor form, but even so, you've got to win those matches. If they can win this one as well, they've suddenly, I don't want to say reignited their playoff charge, because I don't think it's fair to say they've ever been out of the playoff race, but it just gives them a little bit of a boost, doesn't it? And in a game against another team that's obviously a playoff rival at the moment.
Yeah, as you say, it's brilliant to see the rise, and that they came into this League Two season, and there wasn't too many expectations. It was all about surviving, similar to what we're talking about Cambridge and Cheltenham. But they've surpassed all expectations, and when things got difficult, I think the majority of people expected them to drop off the pace. But that they've managed to stay in and around that battle all season. That's a credit to everything that they've done this season. It really has been a really great first season in the Football League for them. And as you say, I think sort of recent form is a little bit of a picture of what's happened this season, where they've lost a couple but then got back to winning ways just when it appeared that they were dropping off the pace. So yeah, it's going to be another really, really tough clash. As you say, the late heartbreak Port Vale suffered in the reverse fixture could come as extra motivation for Vale in this game. I think Port Vale are up there probably within my top 3 teams that I've seen in League Two this season. So of course it's going to be a very, very tough game. But Sutton, I just don't think you can ever write them off, and I think that's been the story of their season.
Okay. Going to ask you 2 now to try and predict this one. It is quite a tough game to call. Ben, we'll come to you first.
I'm going to go over a 2-2 draw. I don't think there's a lot to split these two. So I'll go with quite a few goals, but in the end, a point apiece. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-0 Port Vale in this one. Billy, what's your prediction here?
I'm going to go 2-0 Port Vale. As I said, I just feel Port Vale have too much, and I think they're going to go on and clinch automatic promotion.
Okay, we'll see what happens. One final game to talk about before we leave you on the weekend preview show this afternoon. That's Oldham's game against Mansfield Town. Ben, let's talk Oldham first of all. It looked like they were going to get out of trouble under John Sheridan, but form has taken a real turn for the worse in recent weeks. They know they have it in them to get back out of the bottom 2, but you look at the way the League Two table is now, and it's opened up a little bit at the bottom compared to what it was like a few weeks ago. So they need to get some wins on the board, and pretty quickly, don't they?
Yeah, I think there's a real desperation now to get back on the winning trail for Oldham. It was quite going really well for them, wasn't it? But the resurrection, I think they were calling it, seems to have come to a bit of a shuddering halt. It doesn't take a genius to work out that if they carry on not winning games, they'll be down, probably along with Scunthorpe. You've seen teams as well around them, the likes of Colchester and Barrow, making managerial changes in recent weeks and months as well, and they seem to be picking up a few points here and there, whereas Oldham, 5 defeats on the spin. It's after the form they were in, and if they just hung out for a draw against Carlisle a few weeks back, going into losing the 94th minute, things might have not gone on this downhill path. But it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? We've seen they can beat half decent teams. They beat Bristol Rovers and Bradford since Sheridan came back. They could do it again here. Mansfield are a good team chasing the playoffs, and they're on a really hot streak until they lost 2 in a row recently. So you couldn't put it past Oldham, ending that bad run of form and beating Mansfield.
As for Mansfield, Billy, back to winning ways last time out. A really important victory for them in many ways, getting a 1-0 win over Rochdale after, as Ben mentions, a couple of losses. They need to be ruthless, don't they, this weekend? They need to get another win on the board. It's still very much in their hands, the playoff and promotion race, because of those games in hand that they've got. But it's all about getting 3 points on the board, and they'll fancy their chances against Oldham, given Oldham's form. But as Ben mentions, Oldham do have it in them to cause a surprise, and Mansfield just need to be wary of that.
Yeah, exactly that. You wouldn't quite call it the perfect game for Mansfield, even though Oldham have been on this 5-game winning run because they've plucked out results out of thin air this season. You look at sort of the 5-5 against Forest Green, being that the first team to really compete with Forest Green for a while. And first under John Sheridan, they picked up some what we would have thought would have been vital points, but the fact that that they have entered this awful form again has been a bit of a surprise. But ultimately, I don't think anything's said or done yet. They're quite lucky that Stevenage and Barrow have been quite poor as well, keeping them within touch and distance. But Mansfield, it's really it's all in their own hands now. 11 games left, 2 points outside the playoffs, got 3 games in hand on most teams, and they're only 4 points off the automatics as well. So it really is a tight division, tight top end of the division at the moment. And Mansfield have shown excellent form, showed an excellent ability to bounce back after two games where they lost, which as I said before, came as a real surprise. But they're coming to the business end of the season now, playing pretty much Saturday, Tuesday for foreseeable future, trying to get those 11 games packed in. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult finish to the season given the volume of games, and that's when injuries can start to pick up. But looking at this one, it really should be 3 points. But as we say, we don't know what Oldham will do, because they can pick up points from games like this.
Certainly can. I'm going to back a 2-0 victory for Mansfield this weekend. Ben, how do you see it going?
I would like to see Oldham get back to winning ways. I've got a friend who plays for them, so I'm quite biased in that sense. So I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to say they're going to get back to winning ways. I'm going to say 2-1.
Okay, I'd certainly be happy with that at Boundary Park. Billy, prediction for this one?
I'll go 2-1 Mansfield. I think, again, they're a side that will be challenging automatic promotion all the way.
Okay, a big game in terms of both ends of the League Two table there between Oldham and Mansfield this weekend. That's it for the weekend preview show on Football League One TV for this week. Ben, Billy, thanks for joining me this afternoon. Thanks to those that sent in comments and watched us this afternoon. That's been appreciated as ever. Do remember to subscribe to Football League One TV on YouTube and like this video as well. That will help us continue to grow the channel. But for myself, Ben and Billy, it's bye for now.